Oh, we're live. He keeps. You have to let us know.
Welcome to
sneaking up on us.
another rum-fueled treasure hunt in the shark waters around the Gatsby Islands with Gatsby deep diving queen Ray.
Hello, folks.
Paul the pirate.
Hello.
And Uravil the pirate scribe. Today, well, wait. I have my paper in the printer. I printed it out. It's right there. Add authentication to Gatsby Functions with auth. Sorry about not being in the camera. Add authentication to Gatsby Functions with auth 0, securing the RV Live function.
Boom, boom, boom.
Correct.
We are back to nattermob.dev, folks.
I think I have to remove this eye patch because it's very uncomfortable. I don't understand how my real pirates can live in this shit.
Well, they don't have an eye, do they? So, you know.
How do you know, though? When they have
well, why would they wear it if they had two normal eyes?
They look dangerously crazy. Wait, I need to turn on my light, by the way.
Asking this? Wasn't it something about like it being dark underneath deck and they had to keep their depth perception correct?
No, not depth perception. Was it?
Or their night vision.
I always used to do that when I was on a ship. You know, you're up in the sun, the Caribbean sun, drinking rum, you know, and steering the boat, and then you're going down to wake up your crewmate, Hakon, who is sleeping. Ahoy! And then you always have to keep your eye shut for like 5 minutes before you go down. And then when you get down, you go like this, you open the other eye.
Yeah. So I think that's the reason for the eye patch, Paul.
No, right. No. That was for my benefit. Sorry.
No, that's just a made-up story.
Good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's not true at all.
Sorry, I was sort of listening and then texting Rich. So sorry about that.
Rich is a real pirate.
Rich is a real pirate. Yes, very true. So what are we doing then? Are we good to go? Do we need to? What do we need to do? I've forgotten what we do.
Let's go. Yeah.
Are you muted, Benedicte? Have you muted yourself?
I've muted myself. This is a good start. We are adding authentication to our RV Live badge that hopefully works now. So let's have a look at our Nattermob site.
Sorry, but I'm moving everybody around. Sorry about that. There. That's how.
That's better.
Yeah.
It still says not live. Like there's something wrong with that query, but that's not what we're gonna work on today. So some of the longtime viewers of Nattermob will know is that this query is quite expensive, and if we go above a certain threshold with YouTube, and we have to pay YouTube to use their API, and we needed like a very focused and little example to show you how to add authentication to functions. So we have decided to add login to nattermob.dev, and only when you're logged in are you allowed to ask for this "Are we live or not?" Gatsby function that we made. Right?
Again, is that for me? Sorry, you need to say who you're talking to.
How many beers have you had, Paul?
I'm just the one. Yeah, no, that's correct. That's exactly what we're doing. We're gonna
just the one.
We're only gonna hit the Google endpoint that shows whether we're live or not for users that have logged in. So we need authentication on the client side, kind of, and we need authentication to double check the authentication token on the server side. So it's a double authentication whammy this week.
Yes. Because what could happen now is that our API endpoint is, open to anyone to hit. So if somebody starts hitting our endpoint a lot, then they can rack up our bills. But by letting a user log in and then making sure that they are making sure that somebody hits our endpoint is logged in, i.e. authenticated, we will then just quit our function before hitting our YouTube API endpoint Yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start with. I think you said let's start with the function end. So we'll be doing that first. So, but let's get some dependencies installed first because we're going to need two for the server and one for the client.
Already installed them.
You've already installed them. Well, man. Okay. So if we're in the Are We Live function, then we can just require. So it'll be const JWT.
But I thought, could we let's have a look at the inside of because what we're going to be using is auth0.
Yes.
And you've created a Naturmob Dev API kind of endpoint, or not endpoint, application as they call it. So we kind of own this part of auth0, I guess, and it's got an identifier naturmob.auth, and there's like a lot of settings. We just have the default setting, and there's an ID. But I just want to point out that there's a quick start when you make one of these, and you can then see the language of your choice, how you should go about protecting your endpoints. So we're going to basically do what they ask us to here, but since we're doing a Gatsby function, which is kind of like a express endpoint, Gatsby uses kind of the way that when you use Express and you make an web server with Express, Gatsby has kind of done it similarly with their Gatsby functions, but there's a little bit of a difference because we don't have an app where we can like use these so-called middleware, so we have to do it a little bit differently. I was just jumping in there, Paul, and then
that's fine. I think I'm actually going to probably follow broadly now that you've brought that to my attention. I think I'm going to broadly just let's follow what you did last night, because I thought the way you explained, or the way we kind of take what we've got in the docs to copy and paste and then transfer it to what we need worked quite well.
Yeah.
So do you want to do that? Do you want to copy the JWT check from auth0?
You're just gonna hand it over to me.
Well, there's a lot to type, and we'll probably get something wrong.
We don't want to type all of this, so let's just then copy all of this example from the quick start, and then we can talk through it. And I just changed these to const because I like const. That's just a flavor or dialect. Doesn't really matter. So what this does is that this is called a JWT check. So what it wants a JSON web token, which is a way of authenticating people, sent through with the request, and then it validates if the JSON web token is valid or not. So it checks if it's valid or not. And to do that, it needs a little bit of information. So it needs to know where kind of the public side of an auth0 secret is. It also needs that audience. I find this a little confusing. Did you too, Paul? Like they call it an audience, but then it's also an identifier, but it's also an API app. So there's like a lot of different words.
Yeah, I deliberately didn't, because I noticed last night you put a HTTP on it. I deliberately didn't do that because I had a hell of a time trying to work out what keys and IDs and URLs were needed. And like you say, audience is quite vague. So audience in my head for that is just like an ID for the API. And so it doesn't need to be a HTTP address. It just needs to be an identifier. But it's not really the identifier, if that makes sense, because that's what the URL for the API is. But anyway.
It was. I also found this quite confusing when I was like looking up this thing. And that's why it's nice they have this this quick start where you can copy paste, because in the beginning I was also like quite confused. So this is what they call an audience, and I think that comes from JSON Web Token key sets or something has used that as like the keyword that you should use. And we are not like super experienced with this, so you kind of were telling you where we got stuck as well, so you maybe don't get stuck in the same place. And if we go to the settings, so this matches this identifier. So you don't use this ID really, but you use this identifier that is then, as I say here, this value will be used as the audience parameter when you do an authorization call. So, and in all the examples they use, they put an HTTPS in front of here, and they call, like they use the identifier the same as what your API URL would be, just to make sure that it's unique, I guess. But you can call it whatever you want. And Paul has called it naturmob -auth. And then, so if you do know Express, have you worked with Express before, Paul?
Probably about 6 or 7 years ago once. And so some of it's familiar, but I never got to middleware, even when I built a full stack app once a long time ago. So that's the bit that really tripped me up. But the routing kind of makes sense, because I guess, it's the same as what Gatsby Functions are doing. I guess it's just in a web app, you might send something different back. We just send in like a payload back or a message, right? But I think, as Gatsby say, their Gatsby functions are Express-like. So they've tried to keep it looking as similar to Express as possible, because Express is a really popular method. So rather than it being like this weird, strange syntax, it's supposed to be as close to this as possible. Not that helped me when I was trying to work this out.
But yeah, so if we look at this app get authorized, like you can see it says function rec rest. So that is very similar to our Gatsby functions. Like this is what we're familiar with, but you have the kind of the endpoint address and as the first value here, instead of when we're doing Gatsby function, this comes from our file name, right? So we don't use this, but we create a handler, and then the rest is the same. You do the rest send, and then you don't use the middleware inside of the function. You say outside that, okay, all of our endpoints should do this check before we kind of get inside of the function. And then they don't have this here, but then it also, you can add like a catch-all for that type of middleware errors. So you don't have to handle the middleware errors inside of each function, but we will have to handle the error inside of our function. So let's jump on to how we do that.
You want to go to the Gatsby middleware example? Yeah.
I am not going to try to copy,
and I'm not going to try and make you type it.
To write this. So if we read the docs here, they say that there's you can add middleware and helpers. So if you don't have any experience with the Express stuff, like middleware is things that you add and it does things. It can use your rec and rest object, and they can do things to the rec rest object. So what we want to do with the JWT check is that we want to see if the request has what we need, i.e. a JWT token. We want to validate that token. And if it's valid, we wanted to add something onto our request. So it will add a user value to the request with the data of the valid token. And if it doesn't work, it should error because something is wrong with the token. So I went here and looked at this custom middleware. It says custom connect express middleware are supported. I would say supported. It's not like really supported, but it's supported if you copy paste this.
Well, and also that example is not helpful because it doesn't show it in the context of how you would add, which is what we're going to do. Like if we abstract the middleware and then use it in an async way in the function. So I think at some point, maybe either me or you should speak to Gatsby's docs teams and get a better example of that, because this is where I got tripped up and I was like, why is it called cause handler? Why is it not just a handler? Like, where's the function?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's confusing.
Function? Yeah, it is a little bit confusing. So what we want to do is that we want to add that inside of as the first thing we want to do. So I'm just going to move all of this into the try. And before we do anything, we would then do our middleware. We could await promise, but we're not awaiting the core. So we're going to await the JWT check. But what I then like to do is that instead of having that in there, I'll make run JWT check.
Yep.
I don't know what you called it, but I'm just going to call it that.
Check JWT middleware was what I called it. And it has to be an async function as well, don't forget.
Yeah. And then I just take all of this and put it inside there, and then we await that function. Instead, I just feel like that is a little bit cleaner. And then we need to put the rec and the rest, not the rev, the rec and the rest in there. And that is basically what we need to do this check to see if the token that is added to our request comes back or is correct and is validated.
We should now, right, that actually does error. Like our site should now error on the Live Now badge, shouldn't it? Because it's not going to get past that check.
Absolutely.
Can I ask 2 questions now?
Yes.
Can you just in one sentence say what your task was, and then in one sentence say what you did? Because you've been talking so much about stuff. So just say what you were going to do, and then say what you did.
Do you want to do it, or should I do it, Paul?
You do it. I'm drinking.
Yeah. So what we wanted to do is that we want to make sure that this function is only allowed to kind of come to this part of function if the request has a JWT token attached to it, and that JWT token is valid, because that tells us that this request is coming from a logged in user that has a valid token to ask us to run this function.
Okay,
And we do that.
So now you're basically making the token? No,
we're receiving the token, and then we are asking this middleware, as it's called, to make sure that our token is correct.
Okay.
And valid. Like, it needs to be a correct token, and it needs to be a valid token, so that we know that the person who sent it is a logged in and authenticated user.
Which is what we're going to do next.
Yeah.
But aren't you kind of making that? What are you doing up there with all the URLs and stuff?
So
Audience,
this,
blah, blah, blah. What is this? What is this crap?
It's a good question. We could talk about
now
this for a long time.
Now
you are making the token, aren't you? You're kind of mixing together stuff and making.
So here's the journey, right? So from the front end, so from our client, it's going to call our function, which is called Are We Live? But before it gets onto the bit where it needs to do the Google stuff, we've got this await run JWT check middleware. Okay. What that's going to do is on the request header, which we'll do in a minute, we're going to send an auth0 bearer token on the header, which comes through on the request, which gets passed on to the middleware. And the middleware then runs that check, that JWD check with the token that you've sent in, and validates it against all of that crap that you've seen in that JWT function, like the secret, the audience, issuer, and the algorithms. And it will verify that what you sent in matches what it should be, and then the middleware will resolve because it's a promise, and then because we're awaiting it in the handler, we can then move to the next step, which is hit the YouTube endpoint. Did I do that all right, Ray? Ray,
oh, that was good. That was good.
So I follow up then. So all this green stuff here is kind of the answer to the right answer to the riddle, and then somebody sends in a token, and then we check all the green stuff, and it's like, yeah, you're right.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And Petter is saying something good there. The token is like a key card, and then auth0 issues the key card, and then your endpoint requires the token, the key card, and it will only be valid if the key card fits into the lock, and then this is then basically our lock, all of that green stuff.
So the green stuff is the lock, and the token is the key card.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way of thinking about it. Yeah.
So if you have that key card with all those holes, you need you need them to be correct. And what we're checking here is the audience correct, is the issuer correct, and then we also do some encryption, decryption things here to make sure that it's a valid key card.
Or it's a bit like, I guess, a bouncer at a nightclub, and you approach wearing a pair of trainers, and he's like, "You gotta wear shoes." And then you kick off because you're with all the lads, and then you have to go home. Or you are wearing shoes and he lets you in. Does that work?
Yeah.
Sorry, tech bro. Am I being a tech bro?
Yeah, being a tech bro.
No comment.
Sorry, not allowed to be
I
tech
really
bro.
like that explanation, Petter. Thank you for that. We are going to collect these because we will try to, I at least want to do more teaching on security around these functions.
Oh, it might also be worth just pointing out, Benedicte, the package, the express-JWT package, just scroll up to the top. I think is that the one it's called?
Yep.
Yeah, express JWT. So that is an auth0 node module. If you find it on GitHub and look in the lib, you'll see that what it's actually using under the hood is the JSON Web Token node module. And JSON Web Token has a couple of methods. One is sign, one is decode, and one is validate. And auth0's JWT package is kind of using all of those methods. It just wraps it up in a nice way to work with an auth0 token. So yeah, it's not, I guess it's not magic. If you go through the JSON Web Token GitHub docs, you'll see like where the two align, which is what I tried to do first time around and ballsed it up. So you use auth0's package because it's a lot easier.
So now we get a blast. There's been a 500 internal server error. And that's what I like to kind of catch this type of error in our catch here and make sure that we say that you're authenticated when that is the problem. So this run JWT check will then reject if there's an error and then send the error down here into our catch. And if I remember correctly, it has a status field, which then will be 402, is it, or 401?
403 unauthorized. Is it? What's unauthorized? 403?
I think so. Or is it? We'll see when we get it in here. And then there's an error inner. Isn't that what I figured out?
I think it's error message.inner, or was it error inner.message?
I think it's inner.message.
Yeah, 403 or 401 are forbidden or unauthorized.
And then there's also an error code. So, and I know that because I've console logged this error at one point to see what it contained when the error came from our JWT check. And then it contained these different keys, and we can use those. So if we do it again now, hopefully we're going to get a 401 unauthenticated.
Good. That's what we want.
That is what we want, but then I think in our badge we should say that
you might need to surface it. Yeah, I wasn't overly sure if we should try and tackle this on stream, but
no, let's not do that.
Because the way we've set it up at the moment, it's just like has error true or false, whereas what we might want is to have like an error object with a value and a string. But anyway, all right, so we know that we can't hit that function unless we are authenticated. So now we need to try and be authenticated, right? So this is where the other auth0 package comes into play, which is called @auth0/auth0-react.
And you can also have a look at the single page app React example if you want to do this yourself. We want to do this login example now, and it tells you all how to set it up and those things. And you've already done that for us, Paul. You created that application for us that we need in auth0 to be authentic or to work against. I'm gonna open that up again. I just need to be on the correct tenant. It's quite annoying because auth0 does not remember which one you chose the last time you
so
there.
To avoid any confusion, this is all set up under my auth0 account, but I've added Benedicte as an admin to the tenant. But it's so confusing. We could do a whole series just on auth, I think, couldn't we? Like, there's so much.
Definitely. So we want to now kind of authenticate against this single page application that Paul has created in auth0. And all of these kind of information here, except this secret, is stuff that we will have access to in our front end code in our client. So these aren't like secrets, but we often add them to process. We often add them to the environment variables anyway, so that they can easily be changed. But these aren't something that you have to keep secret. And to make sure that you surface environment variables that you want in your front end, in your client, in your browser, whatever you want to call it, you have to do Gatsby _ because all the other environment variables will only be available server side to make sure that they are true secrets. So if you want something to show up in your browser code, client code, you need to prefix it with Gatsby _. But never, ever, ever do that to something like this client secret here. Like this one, you will never put a Gatsby _ in front of that, because then that will be a part of your front end code and somebody can inspect that code and then steal your secrets. So that is a super important point, everyone.
So we're going to use quick start for this. So we can use quick start as this for as well. Just like, is there the auth provider in the quick start on that tab?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, in the where you were on inside the app.
I don't think, is there a quick start there as well? Oh, I didn't look at that one.
Is it on there? Yes. If you go to the React one, and then that's probably the page you were just on.
Yeah, but it's probably the correct. So you need to install their auth0 React package, and then we need to wrap our whole application in this auth provider. So we're gonna do that.
Yeah. So
and where do we do that?
Yeah. So the difference here is that's showing how to do it in a React app. We're going to do it in Gatsby, so we need to do it in the wrap root element. So yeah, pop that in, and instead of returning app, we just want to return element as children. But we also don't want to return the live now badge, because that's going to be the thing that we will only show if we're authenticated. Just so we don't get any issues, because I had a weird thing with, oh no, it was fine, don't worry. The scopes. I'm not sure if we need the scopes on this or the audience, but
we don't need that for the login. So let's do the login and then we'll add the audience.
All right. So remove the live now badge from there as well. And yeah, that's going to get us so far.
Let's have it in, and then we could test both of. Let's just add a login above it, and then we can show that it's not working and then working.
Okay. Header's going to render the live now badge. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you take it out of there and put it in, and in header,
we want to make a header component that we will have on top instead, and that's going to return the live now badge.
Yeah, but there'll be some conditions that we'll add in a minute. But for now, we can just do that. And export default and import React, all the rest of it.
I'm just going to copy paste so much today, I think, because my brain is fried. I've been doing so many streams.
What are you doing? Import React from React you need at the top, not import live now badge. And okay, fine.
Don't I need import live now badge though? And then
you will, yeah. React
from
React. You know where that you know where that comes from. And we also need to import use auth.
You're going too fast now. I need to make sure that this is still running before.
Sorry, this is a car crash, and if this makes sense to anyone, you might need to restart. Did you import?
I did not import
in the Gatsby browser.
I didn't. So let's do that. So everyone, I am on a break all of next week. And then
you've done 2 streams this week already, so this is the 3rd stream of the week.
Next week, I'm having the full week off. I'm going to be horseback riding in the mountains as a queen would do, and then I'll be coming home refreshed and a little less, better at typing, hopefully. So this is now running, at least. It looks like. Where is my local host? So it's still running, but we don't have the header added. So we want to now have the header in here instead of the live now page. Okay. Did it import itself? No, it didn't. Then we're going to import the header, and then I'm going to take up the cheat sheet so I can start copy pasting from now on.
Yeah. Well, we'll explain the concept. Maybe just put some logs in, and then we can just copy and paste the whole UI right?
There we go. So now we're back. Like it's kind of working. And what we're doing here is that we are wrapping the whole site in this auth0 provider, and the auth0 provider, and then later the auth0 hook does a lot of the heavy lifting for us under the hood. So there's a lot of things we don't have to do with like logins and logouts and getting all of this set up. Like it does it for us with this provider and the hooks that we're going to be using.
Yep. So what's a good way to do this from now? So like what we really want to do in the header is start using some of these auth0 components, right? Or components, hooks. So yeah, that's fine. And then we want to do
and the nice thing, it remembers if you're already logged in. And I think I tested this before the stream, so we could try to just see if there's a user that gets logged in already.
All right.
No, it's undefined, so I'm not logged in anymore.
All right, so we need to log in then, don't we? So we're going to use let's use login with redirect. I don't think we're going to need to redirect, but let's let's destructure login with redirect from useauth hooks. And then just somewhere in there, maybe put a div around that live now badge.
I did header.
Yep, you can do that. But put a div round it as well, because I don't know if it's block level.
It is. We don't want to put a div around there because we're going to get the same problem we had earlier in a stream long time ago where it hijacks everything.
All right, so now we just put a button in, and that's going to be our login button, and it needs an on click, and we can do login with redirect. Now, I don't think this needs to be an arrow function. It should just work like that. So what should happen is it will take you off to auth0. There you go. Now, before you click that.
Oh, I clicked it.
Okay, so in the connections, I'll let you do this first. Let's do that first. And just do everything you need to do, and we should see a user in the console log, right?
Yes, nickname Benedict Array, name Benedict Array, and then my Twitter profile and everything.
Yeah. So the difference between, I guess, a standard email and username login in auth0, you can add connections.
Yeah. So you turned off username
and so I've just enabled Twitter, and this way I don't have to worry about you don't need to log in with a username or password. It's just like connect it with Twitter. auth0 handles the authentication with Twitter. If Twitter comes back and it's okay, you click all the buttons to say you're going to authenticate it, and then we come back. That's why we're seeing the user, right? Because that has authenticated you. So we do now have an authenticated user in the app. That's kind of step one, right?
Does this blow your mind, folks, though? Because it is like there's a lot of jigsaw pieces that needs to work together. You need to have everything set up correctly in your auth0. But when you finally do, so some things you need to set up that we didn't show you is that you need to make sure that you allow localhost
that's a good point.
as your callback URL and logout URL, your web origin, and your cores. But when you have all of that correctly set up, all you need to do in your code is wrap everything in a provider and add a login button, and boom, you got authentications. And I have coded this from scratch many moons ago, and it's a freaking pain. So especially, I've coded it all from scratch. I don't think I've ever used auth0, but similar things. But this auth0 React package is super slick because it does all the heavy lifting for us. It's really nice.
Let's demonstrate a little bit more super slickness and use the logout hook as well. And we also want to use the is authenticated hook.
So you want to make a little some conditions
here?
So
we can say put a ternary in and say if you are authenticated.
I'm trying to find my cheat sheet so I know how you want it to be written.
No, it's fine. We'll just black this out. We'll copy and paste over this in a minute. I just want to demonstrate how to use these hooks. So put that in the tenorary. So be is authenticated. And if you are authenticated, we're going to have a button that will log you out. And that has an on click of log out. But it's going to have to be an arrow function because into log out, we have to pass return to.
This annoyed me a little bit though. Why,
yeah, it's a bit clunky.
Why can't it just be?
And then it'll be window.location.origin.
We just wanted to return to wherever it was.
I guess because the hook can be used anywhere, it doesn't know where you are.
Yeah.
So you have to tell it. And then the colon, other side of that, will be the login.
If you're authenticated, log out. If you are not authenticated, show the log in. And if we go back to our, I don't know, I have so many browser tabs open suddenly. I don't know what is happening. And then we do log out, and then we get a login button, and then I have to log in again.
Yeah, perfect. Right, so now that that's sort of working, I guess what we want to do is...
Let's get the token.
Yeah, so we're now going to have to amend the live now. Oh, actually, before we move on, let's also wrap live now badge in a is authenticated tenorary as well. So just put another tenorary in there so that it will only show the live now badge if it's authenticated.
Well, there's no fun in that. Then we don't show them how it's as soon as you log in, it snaps into place.
Yeah, we'll do the UI later. I just want to show we're just going to copy and paste the stuff that I put in the PR, but I think it's just to show this is
okay. So now we have the live now only if we are authenticated. So let's log in again. Two seconds. Child needs her father. Okay. Can you come down, please, Ula? Can you come down? Is he on his way?
Calling father.
Calling father.
We have a code. We have a code 3 in the lounge.
We have code 3 in the lounge. 2 seconds. Okay. So then we want to go to our live now because we don't want this. Oh, blast! There's an error because of our authentication issue. We now want to actually authenticate this request.
Yeah, so we're going to do a bit of refactoring here. So let's start by, in that use effect, if we go from the fetch all the way down to the set is mounted and just delete it.
Okay.
And we're going to start again. So we're going to make a function that will be called as soon as the use effect runs. So I've called this get are we live with token. So that'd be a new arrow function or a new const arrow function. And this is an async function.
I always forget those.
Yep. Right. And the first thing we want to do, we also need to import, or just copy it from the other thing. We need use auth from the auth0 React package. We need to have that imported.
And then we also need Axios, don't we?
Oh, we need Axios as well. Yeah, correct.
Okay.
And then somewhere around where we've got all the state, all those live now states and everything, let's destructure one of the use auth hooks, which is called get access token silently. Right in the middle, just to make it easy to see. Could have put it at the end or at the beginning. I'll just randomly put it in amongst the other state. What was your? I'm just trying to get my. What was your thought process? So you're like there, just in there.
I don't know. I felt like this one was long. I'm like, I'm gonna add it to the end. Sorry. My thought process is I'm a little tired. That's what.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so that's another auth0 hook that we can use. So we're going to now make a request to auth0 using that get access token silently. So if we make a new constant called access token.
So now we're trying to get this access code token that we want to validate on the server.
Yeah, and this will be an async call to get access token silently, which is the thing we just poured in from the hook, and that has an options object, and we need the audience.
Then we need the same audience as we are checking for in the function. In the function.
Yeah, NATM of auth. And then I don't think we need the scope, so we can just leave that as it is. And do you want to do a console log here? It doesn't really matter if we expose that access token, does it really?
No. We'll only live for so long, and I think we can revoke them anyway. And
then underneath that, we need to call that get are we live with token function, because it's in the use effect and it's a new function.
So here we go. Now that's our object. Where's our token? Oh, we haven't called it yet. Sorry.
Yeah.
Underneath here, you want to do the request with Axios?
So no. So after outside of the function, just call it. So just above that set is mounted, we can call get are we live. So that will just call that function, which in turn goes off and gets the access token. So we should see a console log pop out for the access token.
Here's the access token.
There it is. Okay, so that's
Copy
what we
that
need.
down. Copy that down, everyone, and misuse it as soon as you can.
So this is the bit, Ula. This is the all-important bit. We need to send that access token along with our request to our Gatsby function, and that's where our middleware will pick it up and say, does that access token match the check? And then it will move on. So that's what we're going to do next. So let's do a new try catch.
Okay. Okay.
Let's do the error first. So this will be set has error true.
Set has error.
And I think we also need to set is loading false as well. I'm not sure if we need all of that, but we might as well put it in. And also before we carry on, the use effect now has a dependency on get access token silently. So just pop that in the dependency array at the bottom of the use effect.
Yep.
Okay, and now we can actually try. So this will be const response.
I'm going to copy paste it.
Fine.
So we are now doing a post request to our function, and there are no kind of body params we want to send in, but we need to set then the authorization header with bearer access token, because that is where this middleware expects that token to be. You could, in theory, put it wherever you want, but that is where our middleware expects it to be. And let's just use the default instead of trying to be smart.
And then before we, just underneath that Axios, then you could do console log response.data, because it will be on the response.data object because it's now Axios. And we can do set are we live now becomes response.data.are we live.
I'm just going
and set is loading false. Yeah.
And then set are we live.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that would be response.data. Yeah, that's it. And that should work. That should be everything, I think.
But we are not live. What is wrong with this? I don't understand. Like, I fixed this earlier today. It's going through all of...
That's broken, but it's doing what it should do. So I guess one good test now that all works. So let's do two things. So let's log out. So we shouldn't see the Are We Live badge at all if we're logged out. Good. So if we're logged in, we should get the Are We Live badge. Okay, and just temporarily in the live now badge component, if we don't correctly send the access token in the authorization header, what happens?
Let's see if we like amend our token a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, blast. There's been an. I'm
Should
refreshing.
error.
Woo! There's been an error.
There we go. So we cannot hit that Google endpoint unless the access token is correct. So that function is protected. So you wouldn't be able to hit that natamob.dev/API/are we live from anything else other than an authenticated part of our application.
So
that we did it.
Means, so I have two functions here. I like papers, you know. Which one is the one you were talking about that works? Is this the natamob auth, or is it this? Did you even do this? I don't think you did.
I don't know. I don't know what you're showing now, Ola.
It's not this week's voyage because I didn't write one.
It is. It's from the pull request. So the one.
From the pull request. Oh, okay, fine. You printed out the pull request.
Of course.
Oh yeah.
This is. I always do that. So this is the one with. This is all the green stuff.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So that's server side
or whatever.
Yeah. The bounce is on the server.
So this works now. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
The bouncer says, "I don't care if your shoes cost $1,000. They're not on my list." So.
Your name's not down, you're not coming in. I think there was an old rave track, wasn't there? Your name's not down, you're not coming in.
Yeah. So that's the one who's working.
Tech bro.
So that was
Techno bro.
Techno bro. That's
techno bro. Who's into techno in the chat?
That's what you should say to them. I'm not a tech bro. I'm a techno bro.
I don't want to.
Let's shall we do? I can try to do a recap.
And do the recap because this is confusing. Yeah,
this is confusing. So
before you recap, do you want to just copy and paste the whole header component into your component because it will make it look nice? Sorry, and there's a parrot in there for when it's loading as well.
Yes.
Then you can recap. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, that's fine. Totally fine.
I hope it's this.
It's unfortunately not. It's just it's an emoji parrot, so it could well come up as a grey box on Benedict's machine. I didn't think about that. Hey everyone, here's a grey box.
I got all of GitHub's.
Cool.
Okay.
Is that the right? Oh yeah. Okay. Fine.
What? I thought GitHub had gotten smarter with their
good lord.
copies. There we go.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that should just make things look a little bit nicer. Does it work? No.
That isn't working.
What's the problem? You got a double import of React or something?
I copy pasted everything. Oh, it's like twice now. Sorry. I can't even copy paste today. I need a vacation.
Vacation are great. Yeah.
Like that looks exactly the same though.
Well, it's clearly not working, is it?
And then we'll do the recap, everyone. I'm always happy to see people in the chat. There was a good question here from Pet that is asking if it's free for like what versions it's free.
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, it's definitely free for.
It says 7,000 active users on their page thing. I'm not sure if that's what it means though.
Just trying to find where is the main page? Here we go. We did try to get James Quick on, didn't we? Who's the dev reel, but I think it was a little last minute.
He was like, "Yeah, I'll come on," and then we asked him this morning.
Trying. I mean, actually, it was more like he mentioned it, and then I also mentioned it back. So I wasn't actually trying. It was too, like you said, well, it's too late. If I'd been there 4 days before when he actually tweeted it, it would be
maybe.
trying. Yeah.
Right, so the free plan, I'm just reading from their pricing tables. It's 7,000 free active users and unlimited logins, passwordless, lock for web, iOS, and Android, and up to 2 social identity providers. So we're using one, which is Twitter, but I guess you could have GitHub or Google or something as well, which is actually better than Netlify's identity plan, if I recall. I think you have to pay for social providers on Netlify, don't you?
I haven't checked that.
I'm not sure if it still is. I know it was when I'd used Netlify Identity last year. If you wanted social logins, it was on the paid for plan. So that's a plus for Auth0, I think.
Yeah. So let's do our plugs while I try to make this work, and then you can share your own screen, Ola. Do your little break. It's 10 to 9. We're just going to do a break, and then we'll summarize so everybody understands what we've been up to after the break. So hang around.
All right. Sorry about being...
Who are you waiting for? Me?
No, it's this you need to do all this stuff with computers and everything. It's not easy. Oh my god. Do you see that? Do you see that? Say yes or no.
You have to add it to the stream, Ola.
That's a no then, I guess. Now, do you regret not having tried Gatsby Functions yet? Imagine just yourself and a Gatsby function, no distractions, your favorite beverage, and you can do it all on email. Sign up for email updates now, and you can build this, if I can get down, this amazing time ship right here. I don't know if you want to be any of the people in the dress, but you should, because it's not bad to wear a dress. It's cool. So that's it. Sign up. We build a time ship as a Gatsby function. Yeah. And oops, sorry. Damn it. And here, 24th of August, you can get people to pay for it. Pay for the time ship. 24th of August. Yeah. All right. That's me. Bye.
I sort of have a plug. It's not really a plug for me. Can I share as well?
Yes.
I'm allowed to share screen. Wowzers.
Yeah. Wowzers.
Am I sharing? Because I don't know, because I can't see.
Ola will have to tell you that.
Ola, am I sharing? Am I sharing?
No, absolutely not. Now you are.
No, I am. Okay. So a little bit of background, and I'll talk about this in a second. So I've only ever spoken to Alex maybe 2 or 3 times on Twitter, but I noticed this week he's created this open source repo. He says it's a mono repo for plugins in the Gatsby user collective. So the idea behind this is if you come across any outdated or Gatsby plugins that look like they're no longer maintained, you can submit them to Gatsby UC plugins, where collectively a group of enthusiasts, probably myself and Benedicta at some point, will actively maintain some of these existing packages that the original authors no longer want to maintain. I know it's a huge problem in the Gatsby community where you'll go and install a plugin and it doesn't work, or you get errors. Sometimes it's because, it's not supposed to work with Gatsby 3. Sometimes it's just, it's just old and there's errors and nothing happens. But rather than sort of blaming Gatsby for it, it is open source. And this is a good way, I think, if you want to contribute to the Gatsby plugin ecosystem, follow Alex Moonmeister on Twitter and check out the Gatsby UC plugins repo on GitHub. And I think there's some information there. Here we go. What it's all about. So yeah, that's my plug. Can you unshare me, Ula?
Yes. I guess remove.
Okay, I'm going to share myself again then and do my plug.
Yes.
So you can head on over to crowdcast.ao/Ray. And if you have not signed up for this summer, 5 weeks, 5 challenges, Gatsby Summer Functions, you can still join the fun and do our mini Gatsby Summer Functions workshop. It's 2 weeks. There's going to be one webinar where we go through how to go from ID to production ready function. And you can check through this page. There's going to be a live webinar, a forum, a QA session, and then code samples. And you can also choose your own price depending on your situation. So go have a look at that. And while you're on the page, also sign up for the free Architecting Your Gatsby Serverless Functions with Swisek, the author of Serverless Handbook, where he's going to teach us how to take a messy serverless function and split it up into separate small, and I can't remember the name, functions. A function that only does one thing. So head on over to crowdcast.io/Ray. Cool.
And your plug could be here if you were a guest at the Pirate Show.
Woo! So if you know somebody who should come on the show or you want to be on the show, let us know.
Let me
So
know. Let me know. Talk to me.
Ula is in charge of all the way down there, is in charge of guests. So I copy pasted in Paul's little design changes, and this is how it looks now with a little bit of a header, the live now thing. And I will stay on here for a little while to see if I can figure out this live, not live thing, because we need to be live to test it properly.
Oh,
but
yeah.
We're gonna kind of So let's summarize. So what we did is that we wanted to make sure that our Gatsby function could only be used by authenticated users. And we did that by adding a JWT middleware from Auth0 that is called Express JWT. And then that also uses another package to get hold of the secret that you need to validate if a JWT token is correct or not. And a JWT token is a common way to authenticate users of an API. And it's just like a long string of numbers that is encoded, and it needs to have lots of correct pieces in there to be correct. And then the JWT check function here will then make sure that is correct. And as Petter said earlier, it's kind of like a key card, and then this function checks if the key card is correct and should be allowed to open up the lock. That will then let the rest of the function run. So you're only supposed to be able to run this, hit this YouTube endpoint if you are authenticated. And we tested, and when we didn't add an access token, JWT token, you weren't allowed to run this function. So to get hold of one of these tokens, keys, we needed to let people log in. And they needed to log in with Auth0. And to do that, we wrapped the whole application, because now our page kind of has gone from a Gatsby site to a Gatsby application. And we've wrapped the whole thing with an Auth0 provider. And then Auth0 provides us with the super nice hook that lets you check if somebody's authenticated, if it's loading, log out, log in with redirect. We use this to only show a login button if you are logged out, and a login button if you're a log out button when you're logged in. But the important part here is when you're logged in, we can use get access token silently, which it then in the background talks to Auth0, gets the logged in user's access token for this specific audience. Oh, you had the scope in there because I copy pasted from you. And then we use that access token and we set it in the authorization header. And this is just, you need to read the documentation for our middleware to work. It needs to have bearer or space and then the access token. And this, when I started working with APIs, I thought that these were like rules set in stone, but it just depends on the person that has created the API. So sometimes this is called a push. Sometimes, you know, we could just, if I wanted to, I could say that it had to say Ray at the beginning. But the kind of best practice is something called a bearer, because it's denote that this is a bearer token. And when you set that, this check will run and say, yes, you're allowed. And if it's not correct, it will say you are not allowed and you can't use it. I don't know. That was my most succinct summary, but
yeah, that was
it
good.
was a
Good
summary. But it was a summary.
Good
So we are also going to now change the audience here, I think, to our variable at least. And that's it for today's scheduled topic. But I want to figure out why this live now budge isn't working. But feel free to stop watching. We have done our authentication. But if you want to do some live bug fixing with me, Paul and Ulla, you know, stay on and we'll see where we go.
But we end the show then, right?
Yes, you can end the show and then we'll just like keep on going.
Are we not just gonna debug this live on?
Yes.
We do need to stay live, don't we? Yeah. You're just gonna end the show. Oh, I see. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
It's a pirate nightclub, you know, Paul. So the bouncer comes in and then he says, "Party's over, everybody. We're turning off the lights." And they blink the lights and the party just keeps going.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Good.
This has been another unauthorized and rum-fueled treasure hunt in the sharky waters around the Gatsby Islands with Gatsby Deep Diving Queen Ray.
Woohoo!
Paul the Pirate.
Hello.
And
Oh,
Ulla.
goodbye. I've done it again.
Yes. Ulla, the pirate scribe. Well, it's not really goodbye because we're still going to be here. Now I pretend. Okay, everybody wave and we pretend that I'm logging you off. Bye. Like
Bye.
bye. Okay, we're off.
And then
Right.
we might cut this.
Let's riff it.
Yes.
Woo! We might cut this out, you know, later on YouTube. So if you want to see this live
is the
bug
one and only
fixing,
chance you have to see it.
sit. Okay.
What do you think the problem is then? Do you think it's the keyword match because we're not matching
we don't-
for summer functions? How did we do it? Because I know you changed it, didn't you?
I changed it. So I changed it in the in our source nodes, or in our I changed it to playlist and then the playlist ID. And if we go to everything that is sourced, like all of these are sourced. Like this is the one we're looking at right now. So it's actually sourced. So this kind of this query here gets all of our gets all of the items in the playlist.
Because so I remember now you changed that because before it was using search, which was really expensive. Playlist is the better one, and these summer functions videos still end up in the same playlist, right? I'm just trying to do this on YouTube without it. Talking loud
no,
at me.
because as you can see, they are sourced in here in our index page. So this is the this is what is happening when it's sourcing. So they're obviously sourcing all the videos, but then now and then I just, when I thought I'd fixed it, I copy pasted kind of this query, and I put it in here. So this should be the same as the one in the node, in Gatsby node, but then maybe we're not, and we should get the snippet live broadcast content.
Let's see what comes out from the video.snippet. Just put a login. If you map over those data.items, and let's log and see what video.snippet is for each item in that playlist, because one of them should say live, shouldn't it? Which is how we're that's how we're testing.
Console log, and then we do our items. Oh, and then let's see what
You're not
happens
sharing your screen, by the way.
Oh, have I been doing all of that without sharing my screen?
Yeah, it's fine. I didn't even notice because I was looking at my code. I was just talking to you. I didn't even look.
Okay, here we go. So we are asking for all the items in the playlist. and then we're looping through them to see if one of them is live. So if we now start our live, loading, not live, let's see what it gives us. So this is definitely one. And we have a snippet published at channel title description.
We're looking for, what is it? Live broadcast content is the snippet key.
Yeah, but we don't have live broadcast content on this one.
Have they changed the API or have they?
No, I think that the playlist items snippet does not have this. So maybe the one we had was correct. We have to use search here. Let's have a go look at this playlist item. I remember this now. This was a long time ago. It's like months ago.
I mean, I'm just going to have to blame you because this is one of your YOLO fixes. This didn't happen on stream. You just told me one week, you were like, oh, I've changed it, by the way. And I was like, okay, fine. Whatever.
Whatever. I take full responsibility. I think right. Maybe we need content details.
What's in that?
So playlist items, list. Somebody.
Why am I looking at your screen? I can just look at the YouTube dots. That's kind of like, I can't see. So.
Well, I'm just going to test it because that's faster than reading docs.
So playlist items, and what do you use? List? List. Okay.
We might have to loop through each of these. I did this once. I don't know what happened to that information or that code. No, content detail doesn't give that to us either. Why was there an error now? Now there's been an error. I don't know what's happening. Are we live? Snippet. Oh, yeah, because we don't have a snippet, do we? We have content details. I am just going to do that. And then const, are we live true or false? Or are we live true? So it's not content details. I think maybe I realized that then we would have to ask each of the videos for more information.
Which I don't think that's any less expensive than using search because each request is going to count, isn't it?
No, yeah, but it's going to be a lot less because the playlist costs one. Yeah, the quota cost for the playlist item is 1. And then the videos. The videos, I think, is list is only a cost of 1.
So it's probably going to be all right. I guess there will be a tipping point if we had 1,000 videos that you have to loop through because it would eventually slow down. But then surely we might be able to use a different array method. I'm not sure if some escapes when it finds, but we might be able to use a different array method that will just escape when it finds.
We will never have 1,000 scheduled. So this will only return the 50 of the ordered by date. It will only return the 50 kind of newest videos, which are often the scheduled videos. So we would never have to look through all 1,000 videos because we'll never schedule 1,000 videos, right?
Oh, I see. Good point. And so presumably on the build, we're going to have to get into pagination at some point because it's only...
and the build and then the build doesn't have to go through each of them because the build could just use the see, this is what I'm doing here. Video response, await YouTube video list, and then I loop through. I've forgotten about this. I didn't use this on our I've solved it already in the Gatsby node, but we forgot to put it in the RB Live API.
When you say we, do you mean?
I mean me. I forgot to put this in.
So what are you using instead? The videos list.
Yeah, and then you can do. So this is only quota one, even though you're asking for many videos. Look at that. The video list. A call to this method has quota cost 1 unit, even though you're asking for multiple videos.
Why is that in? Oh, because that's in Gatsby node because you're doing the same thing where it requests each one each time.
Yes. So if we do all of this, but this is maybe the time that we abstract that and then we ask for this and
get it working first, and then we can abstract. I don't know if there's anyone on Thursday. Was it Ineza who was asking, or was it? I think it was someone else. But abstracting the API, it's the same approach. A component or a util. When you hit that point where you're using it more than once, that's kind of when it makes sense to abstract. But avoid hasty abstractions, which is I think what we did, wasn't it? Oh, I didn't even know Alexi was here.
Yeah.
Hello. Oh, he's on Periscope. That's why he's not in the chat.
Well, he's been a little bit in the chat. So, he's not in the YouTube chat. No, we can see it in our backend here. Okay, but so I'm going to do all of these over to RB Live. And then we have the videos response. And then we don't need the snippet because we don't need any of that information in this one. And if we now ask for let's see if it gives us
live now. It worked.
How did it? No, I just said it's true. We need to actually look through this. But
is it the last one or the first one? How does it order that log?
But then it's live streaming details. We don't need live streaming details. We need the live broadcast content, I think.
So hang on, this is still on the list. I'm just looking at docs. This is still in list, right?
Yeah, so we need the live streaming details. No, recording details, snippets. Like, I just want the same information. I want live broadcast content. Well, now we can ask for the snippet. So let's only ask for the snippet. Then I think this should work. And then we don't. Okay, let's try again. Because the snippet should have live broadcast content on it. Because because that is what like messed me up, is that the snippet on playlist items is different than the snippet on the search item or the video items. It's not the same snippet.
Live broadcast content doesn't exist on the snippet for list, unfortunately.
Not for videos either? No. Not for videos list.
I'm looking on, that's playlist items list. And what's the other one you want? Videos items list.
Yeah.
Videos list. Oh, okay, here we go. Might have been looking at the wrong endpoint.
So that one should work. Live broadcast content. It has that on the video, the snippet for the videos list, which is like, why do they have to make it, so annoyingly hard? So, and now I think it should work. Look at that.
Oh, is it working? Okay.
Live now. Wow.
Oh, so wrap it up. What did you change?
We get all the playlist items with snippet, but the snippet we get on playlist items does not contain live broadcast content. So
where are you now, on build, or is that the function? Where are you? What am I looking at here?
Now we're in our RB Live function.
Oh, okay, fine, right, yep.
So we are asking for all the items in our playlist, our Gatsby Deep Dive playlist. And then we're saying we want the snippet, but some reason on that API endpoint, snippet does not contain live broadcast content. So then we loop through all of those to fetch the IDs. Then we ask the videos list endpoint for all the videos with snippet because that snippet includes live broadcast content.
Got you.
And it's like, why is the snippet different for videos on different endpoints? That is super annoying.
I'm assuming there's a reason, but yeah, you would have thought the snippet type would be the same across all endpoints, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I assumed until I started console logging, and I was like, what?
Another good reason for TypeScript, and you could get the types for each endpoint, and then we could just see, or even Google might be able to.
But
well,
so
there's probably a reason.
let's fix this in its own like branch. Yeah. I'm just gonna. This is now just gonna be feature stream. So this is what I've done on stream, and then let's check out our main branch. Make sure it's up to date. And then git check out branch fix live now again, because I just did this earlier today, I thought, but I hadn't taken all of the changes. And then we can go to the function. And look at this. Now we have an unauthenticated function again. And all of this should be changed. And then let's build this and see that we are still live. What are you chatting on about in the chat, Ola?
Chatting on his own.
He's chatting on his own.
There's no one left. There's 3 watching, and that's us 3, isn't it?
I'm not watching.
Oh, aren't you? Okay, so there's
whoever is left, wave at us.
I never watch.
Are you not watching?
No. So 2 people are watching plus you.
Okay, that's great.
But Alexei said that he's learning a lot from you, which is super nice of him to say.
But he left.
Yeah. Well, it was nice, It's always nice when.
If Petter André is still here, I'm trying to write my email there in the. But it's top secret, YouTube. You can't give out emails on YouTube, because
you could just say it out loud in Norwegian for Petter.
Yeah. He's here. Okay. Yeah. Ola at olavea.com. Send me an email, and then I'll send the answer from the James Q Quick guy.
Yeah.
But he might not answer me because I've sent him a couple of DMs and he hasn't answered me. So he might think I'm just trolling him or something. You never know.
He's like, why are you keep
who is this guy?
So our fix is working live now. So we'll then fix snippet. It's not same as snippet. That is the best. Snippet is not the same as snippet.
But Petter said that he got my code. I wrote out my email,
I'm happy.
Yeah, he was sleeping. But he might still be sleeping. Who knows?
I've seen him active on Twitter today, but he is one of Auth0's, most. I saw he started the stream an hour before we started streaming.
What? Oh, really? Okay.
He streams all the time over on Twitch. So, and then we're going to make a pull request, GitHub pull request, create. So fix live now function again. And we've submitted. Do you want to look it over and give it a
green light? I can do. Fix live now function again. I'm reviewing.
Yeah, so I think he's in Texas, Peter. So yeah, there's a time difference.
I have approved.
You have approved?
Mm-hmm.
And then we do git pull, and then we move over to the branch that we were working on.
I haven't merged it though, by the way. Do you want me to merge it?
Oh yeah, could you do that so I don't have to, since you're like looking at it? And this is weird. I know we're still streaming, but what is happening now is like while I'm waiting for things to like get approved and merge and stuff, I want to pick up my phone and like do stuff while I'm waiting for these like 3 seconds.
Right. Merged. It's merged.
Oh.
That's an interesting one, actually. I don't know. Everywhere I've worked, they do it differently, but sometimes whoever approves will merge. Other times they like to say, you own the PR. So like you might wait, you might get someone to review it, but it's up to you to merge it. And I guess what they're looking for is, on a larger code base, someone could review it. And in the meantime, commits or pushes have happened and your PR then like has conflicts, and whoever's reviewing it doesn't want to have to fix those merge conflicts. So I think by default, I just approve. I wouldn't merge. I just leave it up to whoever owns it to do that. But I can help you out. You're busy.
Yeah, except super busy. Oh, I have so many branches. What did I call this one? Auth. This is not best practices, Petter. Do not do that. Clean up your branches.
Look at that. Don't even have like feature or chore or fix. What's that branch? It's called image. How are you supposed to know what that is?
Well, tonight's is called auth. So
I'm surprised there's no like YOLO fix in there.
That's why I had to say this, Petter, because I know you've asked me to make a video of like how you do the like a good flow, get a branch flow, and I'm like not showing you a good one right now. And now I'm gonna undo my commit.
And then force push it and
oh boy. No, I thought I'd like remove the change, like the changes we did that did not have anything to do with our.
I mean, you could just bin that branch off altogether and we'll just merge my auth. Oh no, because you made some changes to the error handling, didn't you?
I probably did. Yeah, so if we just remove. What was this called in the other branch?
Oh, I've just deleted it as well. I didn't keep the branch up. It'll be in. Oh, it's merged in. I can just. Do you need to know?
I just wanted, because now, no, you know what I'll do?
In Gatsby Node, it was called playlist items response.
Yeah. So this is how it should be. So now I should be able to do git rebase main.
Commit the changes.
Well, I'll commit them again then. Git rebase main. Let's not get a conflict. Ah, there's a conflict. Why do you have a conflict? Should you not be able to do that? See, now we're going to YOLO. Well, now we're going to YOLO some more. We're going to do git rebase abort.
Well, I was going to say you could just accept both on both and then manually make the change and then
I'm going to undo my last changes. And then I'm going to git stash them. And then I'm going to git rebase main.
Is the pirate princess sleeping or what?
She's not sleeping at all.
Maybe you can order her to her bed, or she has to walk
I still
the
get the
plank.
freaking conflict. I was hoping I was going to be smart enough. Okay, then. Accept both. Accept both. I think that will be correct, though. And remove this one, I guess. Well, that wasn't too bad. And then we need video responses. Yeah. Shall I try to run this then to make sure it's actually running? Now Paul is like, "What are you doing?"
Sorry, I'm speaking to Luke on Twitter about an issue I had with my Gatsby Cloud account. I'm just trying to unpick.
Yeah, so now it works again. So let's merge.
So he's fixing the problem for Paul?
Well, I don't think it's a problem. It's just when I get this like invocations warning, and he's just sent me a link explaining what the invocation counts are.
And?
Well, that's just it. It's like my account says it uses something like, 50,000 of 250,000, but then there's a warning at the top that says that it's using 250% of its invocation allowance. But like the little bar says that it's not. Well, that's it. He just said, I'm on it, I'm fixing it, but here's what invocations mean. So I don't know whether it's an issue with my account or an issue with Gatsby Cloud, but he's just sent me a link explaining what they are.
Somebody's hacking you. I think it's Mike, Paul.
No, this is the thing. I don't think it's looking at like the bar, which sort of says you've used this much of this much. I'm fine, but I get an alert at the top that says you're 220% over, but the bar shows that I've used about 3%. Yeah. So there's a mismatch in the UI.
The banner is
I think.
Okay.
He hacked you. He hacked
I'm gonna change some things now, Paul.
Okay.
So I'm gonna make this a button that is disabled, because then it takes up the same height as if it's a button, so it doesn't like change around, jump.
Fine.
And then I will also add it to the SSSR, because there are some, not the auth, just the header, because then it's there before it loads as well, so it doesn't jump.
Fine.
But we don't need the auth provider. If somebody, for the people still listening, we don't need the auth provider on the server side, because nobody can, there's not going to be any people authenticating on the server. So that only needs to happen in the browser.
You've got a double frag. Oh, you want it.
And then we want the header.
Yeah.
So I'm going to show, for the people who are still on the stream, I'm going to show the difference. So if we reload this now, you can see, it's loading and then log out. So let's log out, because then nothing is really happening. So you can see nothing is jumping around on the page right now. But if we remove the SSSR stuff, so that this is what is generated on the server when we build, you remove that, it's like it jumps down, because it doesn't exist when it's generated server side, and then as soon as it hits the browser and gets that header added, and I don't like it when it like glitches up and down, so we add that also on the server side, so that we get a nicer experience where it doesn't jump. And since the loading with the square that is supposed to be a parrot is there, it's still a button, so that it takes up exactly the same height as the login button. Well, when it was a spam, there was like a tiny difference. It jumped a tiny.
Well, it's still going to jump after the login, I guess, but it doesn't matter, because you'll be redirect.
And you've actually done something, and it like feels. I feel like that is a more expected, thing.
Where's the parrot? Can't see it.
No, because I don't have a parrot in my.
Yeah, but where is it supposed to be?
By the loading stage.
When it says loading, there's a little parrot. You can see it here in the code. It's the
Yeah. Where?
It's the square here.
Yeah, great. Yeah. No, that's good. I just want to see it. And there it says area label parrot. So it's a parrot. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Lillian.
She's now taking her blanket and gonna go to sleep on the couch, which happened hours ago.
I thought she was going to her real bed. Why isn't she in the real bed? You must order her there, or I will give her to the sharks. Come on, say it. Say it.
Refactor.
This is what they call discipline nowadays.
Feature. Header. No glitching. No header glitching. Because then we can actually deploy this, Paul.
Yeah, that would be good. Just trying to catch up on the comments. It's so hard because I don't have enough screens. But is that what you talk about? Peter's saying he's confused with GitHub workflow, create pull requests, and so on. He gets, but I get Git. Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think back. Like, it's an odd concept initially when you start with Git, isn't it? I don't know whether we could do something on a stream where we try and just trying to think, how could we try and simplify it? Because there's so many ways to do it as well, with like terminal, integrated terminal, GitHub desktop, and then you've obviously got the GitHub side of things as well. Ba 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 ba.
Now we've lost, I think. No, there's still one person viewing. Wave! Is it you, Peter? I think we're gonna cut it here then, and then you will make this, you will merge in this pull request 44,
Yes.
and then people can actually log into our site and see if we're live or not. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! We forgot to tell people though that it's well, now Peter will then know. You will be in.
He's the only one that knows.
Peter, this is like inside info. So for season 2, we're thinking more and more that we should do like build out naturmob.dev as a full-on kind of like membership community type site or web application with those kinds of features. So there will be like a members directory and everyone can become a stowaway, and then maybe like by doing stuff you can get other titles, or yeah, we want to test out different kinds of things. So if you have any good ideas, then let us know. It's so bright in here now. So now we can wave properly. Do you want to blow the whistle again, Ola?
Oh, no, absolutely not. I packed it away.
Okay. Well, have a good night, Peter.
I want to say something. Oh, you guys want me to push the button now?
Yes.
Yes, I can do that. Hey, Peter, I got your email. Yeah.
Boop, boop.
Yeah. All right. And then, until next time,
Good night.
Bye.
drink responsibly.